To look upon the hostile void of the cosmos and dare to explore it, humanity had to transcend its biological limits. We could not step into the freezing vacuum, the crushing atmospheric depths, or the scorching radioactive rings of distant giants. So we built mechanical avatars in our own image, machines of silicon, steel, and golden foil, engineered to survive where nature dictated nothing should endure. Over decades of trial, failure, and spectacular triumph, the engineers of Jet Propulsion Laboratory have chiseled 8 distinct architectural blueprints designed to conquer every imaginable domain of the universe. We designed the Flyby Scouts to race past frozen worlds at blistering speeds, capturing eternity in a single fleeting glance. And the heavy orbiters, tasked with anchoring themselves into a permanent, lifelong gravitational embrace with giant hosts. We engineered sacrificial atmospheric probes to dive blindly into alien clouds, tasting the air as they burn alive. They brave a brutal crucible of friction and fire, desperately relaying vital secrets of pressure and composition before the crushing abyss silences them forever. Yet, those brief, agonizing moments of total destruction grant humanity centuries of unyielding truth. While stationary landers touch down to stand as unmoving outposts, serving as our silent, enduring witnesses on uncharted soils. They trade the freedom of mobility for the weight of immortality, anchoring our presence forever on the frontiers of the unknown. Our kinetic penetrators strike like iron spears, piercing the outer crust to unlock the pristine secrets hidden deep within freezing cores. In a single flash of violent collision, they illuminate the dark, primordial history of how our cosmic neighborhood came to be. As semi-autonomous rovers crawl through desolate valleys, leaving humanity's first tire tracks across alien deserts. What began as rigorous trials on simulated Earth terrains becomes a lonely, triumphant march through unpaved ancient craters, carrying our curiosity on 6 wheels. High above the haze, silent observatories drift in pristine stillness, peeling back the layers of cosmic time to stare at the birth of reality. All bound together by an invisible lifeline of dedicated communications and navigation sentinels, bridging the lonely dark back to Earth. Eight distinct architectures, 8 manifestations of the human spirit. This is the definitive chronicle of the mechanical titans that turned the hostile wilderness into our home. The opening chapter of solar system exploration belongs entirely to the vanguard, the Scouts, known as Flyby spacecraft. These vessels are constructed for a single, unyielding destiny: to hurtle through the immense abyss on a continuous solar orbit or interstellar escape trajectory, never to be captured by a planet's gravitational grip. They are the travelers of a one-way celestial highway. Because they sweep past their targets at blistering velocities, they are given a demanding technical mandate. They must utilize highly advanced optical instruments mounted on articulation platforms, panning dynamically to compensate for the target's rapid apparent motion within the camera's field of view. During the frantic peak of these encounters, their high-gain antennas are forced off Earth point, requiring the probe to store every scrap of image data on internal memories. Only during the long, quiet periods of interplanetary cruise do they turn back to face home, whispering their discoveries across billions of miles. They are the pioneers who draw the very first boundaries on our blank charts. When the initial reconnaissance phase ends, detailed exploration begins through the formidable class known as the Orbiters. Unlike their flyby siblings, these massive titans carry a crushing payload of fuel and substantial propulsive hardware. To transition from a breakneck interplanetary sprint into a stable orbital insertion, they must carry out an intense deceleration maneuver at the precise microsecond of closest approach, surrendering to the planet's gravity. An orbiter's existence is defined by a repetitive cycle of predictable isolation. Because they circle their host worlds closely, they must constantly endure solar occultations, where the planet shadows the spacecraft, instantly cutting off solar panel production and subjecting the delicate vehicle to extreme thermal variations. Moments later, Earth occultations follow, shearing off all uplink and downlink communication lines. Yet, by surviving these repetitive trials over years of operation, orbiters convert fleeting glances into profound, encyclopedic scientific masterworks. There are worlds in our solar system whose deepest secrets are fiercely guarded by a crushing blanket of clouds and toxic vapors. To pierce these veils, humanity constructs the kamikazes of deep space exploration: atmospheric spacecraft. Carried across the solar system by larger parent ships, these highly specialized packages are built for short, glorious, and inherently fatal descents. An atmospheric probe requires no heavy onboard propulsion or active attitude steering systems. It relies on the momentum of its carrier and a high-speed spin to maintain orientation during entry. Enclosed within a heavy, protective thermal aeroshell to survive the thousands of degrees of heat born from high-speed atmospheric compression, it plunges directly into the abyss. Once the outer shell is jettisoned, parachutes blossom into the alien sky. Running entirely on primitive internal batteries, its instruments directly taste the air, mapping composition, density, and alien lightning, delivering a precious stream of data until the crushing weight of the atmosphere silences its voice forever. To stop drifting through the void and firmly touch the solid soil of an alien world is a profound engineering triumph, achieved by the class known as landers. These stationary outposts are meticulously engineered to plunge through a foreign sky, survive the severe physical deceleration of touchdown, and establish a permanent scientific foothold on the terrain below. From the legendary Soviet Venera probes that heroically battled 90 atmospheres of pressure and melting heat on Venus, to NASA's Viking stations resting on the frozen deserts of Mars, landers serve as our unmoving eyes and ears. They deploy robotic scoops to extract topsoil, operate miniature ovens to analyze mineral chemistries, and listen to the internal seismic rumbles of alien planetary cores. Though bound permanently to the exact patch of ground where they come to rest, they transform unknown soil into an enduring sanctuary of human intelligence. While landers are designed to gently brush against the surface, another class chooses a path of raw, calculated violence, the Penetrators. These are the kinetic spears of solar system exploration, intentionally designed to strike a cosmic body at hypervelocities, piercing directly through the outer crust to unlock the pristine materials buried underneath. Engineering a penetrator requires surviving the absolute unthinkable, an impact that subjects delicate internal microelectronics to an instantaneous deceleration of hundreds of g-forces. Once buried beneath the dusty soils of Mars or inside the icy heart of a comet, they measure the physical and thermal properties of the unblemished interior, relaying their faint signals up to an orbiter sailing gracefully overhead. They prove to us that sometimes the only way to truly comprehend the primordial history of a celestial body is to shatter its surface with the force of human curiosity. The grandest chapters of exploration do not begin in tranquil sanctuaries, but in the crucible of extreme physics. For 8 long months, this automated Voyager crossed the cold, silent ocean of deep space, a solitary speck of human ambition hurtling toward the red planet. But as it reaches its destination, the true ordeal begins. This is the entry phase, a furious, blinding descent through the upper Martian atmosphere. Encased in a protective heat shield, the spacecraft slams into the thin air at 20,000 kilometers per hour, converting kinetic energy into a roaring shield of plasma. Stripped of all human contact, completely isolated from the engineers who built it, the machine is entirely on its own, plunging blindly into the unknown. As the fiery plasma fades, the orchestration of survival accelerates into a terrifying masterpiece of automated engineering. A colossal supersonic parachute deploys, snapping the vehicle backward with immense force, slowing it just enough to cast away the heat shield. Then, the ultimate test. The descent stage detaches, firing a ring of 8 throttleable rocket engines, hovering like a mechanical leviathan in the thin Martian sky. From its underbelly, a revolutionary sky crane slowly lowers a 1-ton rover on nylon tethers. Suspended in midair, the wheels deploy, preparing for the initial contact. In a final, delicate whisper of thrusters, the rover touches the ancient soil. The cables are severed, and the sky crane flies away to its own quiet destruction, leaving humanity's most advanced outpost safely on the ground. With the dust settled, the silence of Mars returns, but the landscape has changed forever. The mechanical beast stirs, waking from its long interplanetary slumber to unfold its titanium spine and blink its stereoscopic eyes at a foreign horizon. To liberate our scientific vision from a single, static landing site and turn exploration into an expansive journey, humanity gave this machine the gift of locomotive independence. Driven by the brilliant, articulated geometry of the rocker-bogie suspension system, it stands ready to conquer the wilderness. This unique engineering marvel allows the rover's 6 independent wheels to climb over jagged boulders and crawl across treacherous sand dunes, distributing its weight perfectly so it never falters, turning the hostile topography of an alien world into a traversable highway. Yet, as this wheeled geologist begins its march across the vast, empty valleys, it faces an adversary far more absolute than rugged rocks or steep craters. It faces the tyranny of the speed of light. Because the immense gulf between Earth and Mars dictates that radio signals take long, agonizing minutes to travel one way, real-time control is a mathematical impossibility. No human hand can operate a joystick to steer it away from a sudden cliff. Therefore, the rover must possess the profound gift of semi-autonomy. Endowed with a complex digital brain, it must read the landscape, map its own trajectory, calculate risks, and make independent, split-second decisions to protect its multi-billion-dollar frame as it wanders through the silent, alien wilderness. Thus, it rolls forward, an immortal pioneer, carving human pathways through the ancient dust. Armed with high-energy lasers to vaporize distant rocks and robotic drills to taste the deep chemistry of the planet's past, it uncovers secrets buried for 4 billion years. Every tire track left behind is a permanent monument to human curiosity, an enduring signature of life etched into a world once thought dead. Long after its nuclear heart grows cold and its wheels finally stop turning, this lonely explorer will stand as a sacred sanctuary of our collective intellect, proving that though our bodies are bound to Earth, our spirit can wander the stars. There exists a unique class of spacecraft that never travels to a planet, a moon, or a comet. They do not cross the solar system to touch an individual destination. Instead, they occupy stable Earth orbits, solar orbits, or Lagrange points, looking outward into the deep, endless fabric of time itself. These are the observatories. By rising permanently above the blurring, obscuring veil of Earth's atmosphere, these grand instruments perceive the cosmos with unmatched fidelity. Across an intricate symphony of wavelengths, from the vibrant, visible light captured by Hubble to the pioneering infrared gaze of Spitzer and the unparalleled vision of the James Webb, they pierce through cosmic dust to map the births of early galaxies and the very dawn of time. They are the silent, stationary sentinels that do not explore a place, but rather decode the entire history of our universe from a sanctuary of pure light. The eighth and final class is the most invisible, yet the most vital architecture of all, the communications and navigation spacecraft. They are the silent weavers of the digital thread, maintaining the delicate lifeline that connects humanity to its scattered robotic children across the void. Without the Earth-orbiting global positioning system maintaining an absolute time reference throughout our networks, and the tracking and data relay satellites channeling petabytes of mission data, every other class of explorer would drift blind and deaf in the cosmic dark. In the coming decades, dedicated communication orbiters will be deployed at Mars and Venus, establishing permanent orbital internet grids to amplify the weak whispers of rovers and penetrators crawling on the plains below. 8 classes of spacecraft. 8 distinct manifestations of the human spirit. Whether sprinting past an icy world at freezing speeds, or dissolving into the crushing clouds of a gas giant, they are the metallic extensions of our collective soul. Through them, a fragile species bound to a pale blue dot has broken its chains, leaving an immortal mark across the grand, infinite tapestry of the cosmos.